What's good YouTube? Welcome to my channel, Lars and Conditioning. You need less training volume than science actually recommends, and here's some reasons why. Firstly, if we simply look at sets on exercise to exercise basis, if you take a chest press variation, either in a machine or bench press, they don't create the same amount of stimulus nor fatigue, so just right off the gate, right in there, the amount of volume that you're going to need is already going to be different. If we're then extended further to a chest fly, then it's going to be even bigger of a difference. So you just can't say like you need a certain amount of sets, because it also very much depends on the type of exercise that you're doing. So exercise selection before the amount of sets that you actually pick matters a lot more. To continue using the bench press and the chest fly as an example, a chest fly creates local fatigue, whereas bench press creates systemic fatigue. Now, what's the difference? Local refers to a single area, so that would be just the chest. Systemic refers to the body as a whole, so your lungs, your cardiovascular system, your CNS, multiple muscles in it as well. So it creates a lot more fatigue. So you just can't compare saying like 5 sets of bench press is the same as 5 sets of chest flies. It just doesn't track at all. So you can't just say like you need to do a certain amount of sets, because it very much depends on the exercise that you actually do. When a study comes out recommending a certain amount of sets, or that their study shown that X amount of sets were more effective than less sets. When you take these sets into the real world with real people that have normal regular jobs, it just simply will not translate. Because if you have to do 45 sets of a muscle group on every single muscle group, think about the amount of time that you're going to be spending training. It's just not going to be something that most people can realistically do, much less also recover from. And then we have overuse, tendinitis, joint problems, so on and so forth. There's a lot of problems that actually comes if you're going to do a bunch of sets. Also with people's age. Younger people can generally tolerate more than someone who's older. Now, as for the 45 sets, this is not something I just threw out. There's actually been a study that came out where they showed 45 sets of legs were better than 30 or 15 sets in a week. So why is this not the case? Think about it like this. If you have to do 15 sets 3 times a week for your legs, the amount of time you're going to be spending training is going to be quite drastically high. If we just lowball and say each set is 30 seconds and you rest 2.5 minutes, ultimately you're going to end with almost 2 hours of training, just legs 3 times a week. So that would be almost 6 hours of training, just your legs alone, nothing else. Think about that realistically speaking, how you're going to translate that into the real world. How much time are you going to be spending training? If you're going to have to train your legs 6 hours a week, then your chest, your back, your shoulders and arms, also 6 hours a week, you're going to be spending something like 8 hours a day in a gym. If you have to keep doing that, that's not realistic at all. Nobody can do that. This is something that with science that you always get wrong when you make studies upon these things, because they make a controlled study in a very controlled environment and only do, in this case, just legs and only legs. 15 sets, 3 days a week, and then 10 sets and 5 sets in 3 different groups, and you only test that out and then compare the difference. That's all they do. They don't take that and extrapolate that out to all the muscles of the body and then look at how much inflammation, tendinitis, and all those sorts of things that you actually get to develop if you were to implement that approach to every single body part. So they don't look at a full picture. So when you look at a video or someone talking about like, this is like the new science recommendations that you should do X amount of volume, you're going to have to think about realistically, is this even realistic, and can it even be applied to a normal person? Then you also have to consider the amount of time that you invest into something and how much you get out of it. So even though a certain amount of sets on a certain amount of exercises may potentially net you like 5 or 10% more than something else that is less, and that is something that you can actually do for a very long time, is that really worth it for the regular person? Again, you're most likely not an athlete. If you're an athlete, it's going to be a different ball game. However, most people are going to be normal daily life people, and you're not going to have the time, money, and energy to spend so much time at the gym as some of these studies may say that you need to in order to get the maximum gains. And again, maximum gains or close enough. Is close enough good enough for the average person? Yes, it is. Is maximum needed for an athlete? Yes, it is. So you're going to have to differentiate between the two. Are you a normal person, or you're an athlete, or you're a normal person that trains towards being an athlete? Thank you for watching. Larsen Conditioning signing out. I hope you have an awesome day.